Good afternoon, everyone. This is the second meeting of the House Judiciary Committee, and we welcome everyone here today. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Blanton.
Present in the room.
Representative Bratcher.
Present in the room.
Representative Cantrell. Representative Decker.
Present in the room.
Representative Elliott. Representative Fisher.
Present in the room.
Representative Heverin. Representative Kulkarni.
Present in the room.
Representative Lewis.
Present in the room.
Representative Maddox.
Present in the room.
Representative McCoy.
Here.
Representative Minter.
Present in the room.
Representative Mosier. Representative Namus. Representative Petrie.
Present remotely from my annex office.
Representative Scott.
Present.
Representative Stevenson.
Present in annex.
Representative Banta.
Present in the room.
And Chairman Massey.
Present here in the room. As I always start every meeting, I'm going to ask everybody if they can to put your phone on airplane mode if possible. The equipment here is sensitive, and we need to make sure that all votes are properly recorded. And sometimes if a phone goes off or there's interference, it won't properly record your vote. Today we have two bills for consideration. And the first one we're going to hear is House Bill 262. And there is Mr. Sanders, Rob Sanders, our Kenton County Commonwealth Attorney, is coming forward. I will tell everyone that there is a committee substitute on this bill, and we'll certainly explain that during the process. So I'd like to have a motion to adopt. We have Representative Fisher made the motion and a second by Representative Bratcher. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? There is none. Okay. With that, we're going to have him do a presentation. The reason that Representative Heverin is with him, and we also have somebody else I think that's going to come forward, is for purposes of the committee sub. But the way we're going to do this is we're going to let Commonwealth Attorney Sanders talk about the core of the bill, and there's actually a committee sub that deals with two different areas. He will deal with the first area, and then Representative Heverin will deal with the second area. So with that, Mr. Sanders, you have the floor.
Sorry, I hope this is the fastest presentation and the easiest vote that you make, maybe in your entire legislative careers, but definitely this session. There is what I can only assume was a drafting flaw and oversight and proofreading when Kentucky passed the incest statute, because as it reads, it makes it illegal for someone to have intercourse or sexual intercourse with a person they know to be an aunt or uncle, but it doesn't say anything about niece or nephew. So this creates the absurd situation where it's illegal for a niece or nephew to have sex with their aunt or uncle, but not the other way around. Obviously, it's the kids that need protection, not the aunts and uncles. The portion of the bill that I'm here to speak on is simply asking you to change it so that it's illegal for aunts and uncles to have sex with their nieces and nephews. I'll be happy to entertain any questions on that. I don't know how much simpler I can make it.
The only thing that we might want to expound upon for purposes of the committee is I know that once we filed the original bill, there was some language changes you requested. That's the committee sub.
Yes.
So if you want to address that, that would be helpful.
The LRC staff, when they went to drafting this fix to the incest, they addressed a few other things in terms of the punishment level, and you'll see there is a 3-year window, so to speak, of what their intention, I believe, was to not subject someone that is within 3 years of age to the victim of incest to an increased punishment. But by using the terms consenting adults in the first subsection as opposed to consenting persons, it created a loophole where if an 18-year-old had intercourse with a relative that was 16 or 17, that would not be covered by the statute. But if they had intercourse with a relative who was 18, it would make it a felony. So by changing it to consenting persons instead of consenting adults, it covers those 16 and 17-year-olds when the perpetrator is within 3 years of age.
Thank you. And what we're going to do before we take questions, and we do have people signing up for questions, is we're going to go ahead and do the second part of the committee substitute with Representative Heverin, and you can introduce your guest as well, and we'll hear from you. You have the floor.
For the record, I'm Representative Samara Heverin, and I represent the 18th District.
Good morning, and I'm Layla Kaushon with the Kentucky Association of Sexual Assault Programs, which is the Rape Crisis Centers Coalition.
So the second part of this House Committee substitute, it does two things. First off, it adds alcohol to the definition for physically helpless. Last year, right after session ended, there's a Supreme Court case in Minnesota that got a rape case that got overturned because the female had been intoxicated. And so I was talking to Chairman Massey and to Josh Nacey, and I was like, what can we do in Kentucky to make sure that this doesn't happen? A lot of times in government, we seem to be very reactive rather than proactive, and so this is just a proactive approach of that. So other than adding alcohol to the definition of physically helpless, it also adds that if he or she engages in sexual intercourse with another person, knowing that the other person's ability to appraise the nature of his or control his or her own conduct is substantially impaired. So really, it's just making sure that the language is clean. Currently in Kentucky statute, we focus more on date rape drugs rather than alcohol. So that's it.
All right, we have a motion on the bill in a second. We do have a question. Representative Scott.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is on the corrections impact statement. It says that this legislation both widens and narrows the elements of the offense of incest. Can you explain what that means? It's probably in the bill, but to both widen and narrow seems interesting to me.
I haven't seen that, and I obviously didn't write it. I think what they are speaking to is that the widening is the inclusion of aunts and uncles as people that would be criminally liable for having intercourse with their nieces or nephews. And then narrowing is that 3-year window that I talked about with if the victim is within 3 years of age of the perpetrator, it would still be a crime, but it would not subject the perpetrator to enhanced punishment depending on the victim's age.
I appreciate that clarity, especially since you didn't write this. So thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Anybody? It doesn't appear that we have any other questions, so Madam Secretary, please call the vote.
Representative Banta,
Yes.
Representative Blanton,
Aye.
Representative Bratcher,
Yes.
Representative Cantrell, Representative Decker,
Yes.
Representative Elliott, Representative Fisher,
Yes.
Representative Heverin,
Yes.
Representative Kulkarni,
Yes.
Representative Lewis,
Yes.
Representative Maddox,
Yes.
Representative McCoy,
Yes.
Representative Minter,
Yes.
Representative Mosier, Representative Nemus,
Yes.
Representative Petrie,
Yes.
Representative Scott,
Yes.
Representative Stevenson, Chairman Massey.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, is the consent agenda still a thing?
No.
No, okay, wasn't sure, thank you. Always ask.
Some of us would agree with that and some wouldn't, but we don't have it right now.
Thank you.
With 17 yes votes and 0 no votes, House Bill 262 should pass with favorable expression. And there is a title amendment to this piece of legislation, so I need a motion. Okay, who made the motion? Representative Blanton. The second was Representative Mosier. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? There's none. Thank you,
Thank you,
Rob,
Mr.
for
Chairman.
coming to us today. And obviously, we very much appreciate when people that deal with this stuff on a regular basis let us know changes that need to be made. I think I heard your interview where you said that this is more common than people might think. And so because of that, we have to make sure that we keep our laws tight and clean. So we appreciate that. Thank you. And thank you, Layla and Representative Heverin. All right, at this point, I'm going to turn the gavel over to the Vice Chair, Representative Banta, because I'm presenting the next bill, which is House Bill 310 that deals with home incarceration.
Chairman Massey, would you like to introduce yourself and any guests?
Yes, I'm Ed Massey, representative from the 66th District in Boone County.
Thank you. You may proceed.
This might be easier than the prior bill. Not that we're fighting over which is easiest, but this is called a home incarceration bill for the following reason. The way the statutes were written, if you were monitored while on home incarceration, you're given credit against any jail sentence you might receive because you're being monitored, okay? But we've had cases where people have spent a substantial amount of time, especially during COVID, on home incarceration, and then judges are not giving credit for the time that they were confined, even though they were incarcerated, albeit at home. So the law simply basically says that if somebody is assigned home incarceration as part of their pretrial release, if you will, and I have a perfect example because I had a client that was actually on home incarceration for 12 months, and then subsequent to that was put on a monitor for 3 months, and we're having to argue that case as to whether or not he would get credit for the 12 months, although credit for the 3 is going to be given automatically. Now, that doesn't mean that courts cannot impose a monitoring on these persons if they want, if they put them on home incarceration. It just simply says that if you're on home incarceration and your freedoms are restricted, that you will be given credit for that against your sentence if you receive a sentence of jail time. That's the entire bill. Any questions?
Seeing no questions.
There's one here.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Representative Scott, I apologize.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Chairman Massey, on the corrections impact statement, it says that it's not possible to estimate the additional days of credit this bill would award, as the department does not currently track pretrial home incarceration. Do you know if there's a plan by the department to begin tracking pretrial home incarceration?
I would hope there is. I don't know of that specifically. What I would say is part of the reason it's not been tracked in the past is it can be tracked if there's a global monitoring or an electronic monitor. But a lot of people were being given home incarceration with no monitoring. Some people can't afford the monitoring. And so the idea here is to make sure that this anomaly, people aren't restricted for a long period of time from their freedoms and not giving credit for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman.
Seeing no further questions, do I have a motion on the bill? Motion. Representative Fisher. Second. Representative Mosier. Secretary, please call the roll.
Representative Banta,
Yes.
Representative Blanton,
Explain my vote. I'm going to vote aye today, but I reserve the right when it comes to the floor to change my mind. Thank you.
Representative Bratcher,
Yes.
Representative Cantrell,
Yes, I'm upstairs in my LRC office.
Representative Decker,
Yes.
Representative Elliott, Representative Fisher,
Yes.
Representative Hebron, Representative Kulkarni,
Yes.
Representative Lewis,
Yes.
Representative Maddox,
Yes.
Representative McCoy,
Yes.
Representative Minter,
Yes.
Representative Mosier,
Yes.
Representative Nemus, Representative Petrie,
Yes.
Representative Scott,
Yes.
Representative Stevenson, Chairman Massey.
Yes.
With 18 yes votes and 0 no votes, House Bill 310 is passed and will be reported with favorable expression, and the same should pass.
I do want to, and I'll just speak from down here if it's okay. I do want to address the committee as a whole. We had this week was a short week because of the Martin Luther King holiday. So we are getting bills. We get bills referred typically on Mondays. So I will try to get those things out to you as quickly as possible. If you have any questions about something that's going to be heard or in committee, or you need a copy of something that's going to be heard in committee that you didn't receive, please let me know, and we will get that to you as quickly as possible. I'm doing my best to communicate with everybody as best as I can, but we want to make sure that you've had ample time and adequate time to review the bills. With that, we have one other thing.
Representative Cantrell, would you like to register a vote for House Bill 262?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for recognizing me to do that, and I'd like to register a yes vote.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? Motion to adjourn, Representative Blanton. Second, Representative Fisher. And we are done. Thank you, everybody.